So, good morning, I'm Dipak Jadhav, and my enrollment number is 25642, and the project topic is competency mapping. So, the very objective of my project is, of course, to identify competencies for various roles in an organization and relate to predict performance of individuals in an organization. Also, to develop behavioral anchored rating scale, which we call as bars, to identify the development needs of the employees, and to enable field workers and their managers to work systematically towards the development of identified set of competencies in a focused manner, and also to design and develop customized need-based training program based on the outcome of competency mapping. So this is the objective of of my project. And yes, we use certain methodologies in order to collect information like direct interview from our candidates, joint field work, survey, and feedback. So these are the methods that we use. So we interview the candidates. We try to understand, what they made successful. What are the attributes or the key skill areas that they're demonstrating on the field, or the knowledge areas which they are demonstrating in the field. So we collected a lot of information through direct interview, and that gives us idea. These are the certain attributes like knowledge, skill, or attitude which are helping them to outperform in the field. And we also did joint field work to observe them, how they are actually using their knowledge, skill, or attitude in handling various customer challenges, in handling their customers, and generating the business. So that gives a lot of insights, in fact. As per the situation, how they are at actually using their knowledge, skill, and of course, attitude. And we also did survey, the survey report actually, and we send them a questions or set of questions to them as well as their managers, wherein the questions were like open-ended questions as well as closed-ended questions, and they're supposed to, select appropriate option, and through which we got a lot of insights in terms of, how they are actually, using their knowledge, skill, or attitude to handle different situations. How is their behavior in the field, and their discipline areas, their punctuality in the field, of course, the level of communication, their participation in various activities. So these questions were based on, on key skill areas as well as key knowledge areas, and of course on key behavioral areas, and through which actually we got a lot of insights about our field people. And of course, last but not least, that we also use the feedback method. So we have actual feedbacks. We collected feedback from the line managers, okay, regarding their sales people. How is their overall conduct in the field, how they are actually applying their knowledge and skill, or what is the level of knowledge and skill that they have, their people are actually have attained, and they are applying in the field to achieve the target. So this is how actually these are multiple techniques that we use. To collect data. So just to summarize, we use direct interview method, joint field work, survey report through questions, and of course feedback. Now, when it comes to the overall gist of this project, or the overall outcome of this project through the data analysis, or just to summarize, you can see in the slide, actually you can see the graph as well, that we conducted this trial on, there were total actually 30 participants were actually involved in this, there were total 30 participants which were involved in this project, and of course we actually saw their ratings, in fact, based on the various parameters. The competency rating that what we call it as. So competency rating basically based on the knowledge, skill, as well as attitude demonstrated in the field. And so managers are rating them, based on their competencies, as well as whosoever is working with our salespeople, they rate them based on the certain, competencies, which we call as bars, that is behavioral anchored rating scale. So if we look at the bars, actually the behavioral anchored rating scale, so you can see in this graph that the 5 participants, like it's average, we have taken that 5 participants whose average bars, that is behavioral anchored rating scale, is 16.4, and their achievement, if you look at in the the purple below, purple that pole, that their achievement was 60.4%. This is a sales achievement I'm talking about. Whereas 10 participants whose average bars was 21.7, their achievement, the average achievement, sales achievement was 86.6%, and remaining 15 participants whose average bars was 28.8, their percentage achievement was 107.6 percentage. This is the sales achievement. Now it is evident from this graph, and you can see here that with every increase in the bars, when there is increase in or increment in their bars or competence rating, we can say there is increase in their outcome, that is performance outcome. Now what I mean by performance outcome here is their sales achievement, because ultimately salespeople, their performance is measured in terms of the number of sales they are bringing, actually the sales outcome. So here you can see the sales outcome is actually improving as with increase in their performance, with increase in their competency rating. So that is how actually this is the crux of the study. So this also depicts the importance of the bars or the behavioral anchored rating scale and the competencies, how they are actually important in order to achieve the final performance outcome. So when it comes to key findings of this project, so we found that yes, what I found is that Salesforce with high bars had an excellent performance outcome, as we saw in previous slide. Competencies has a strong impact on performance outcome, and competency mapping has a vital role in identifying performance gap as well. So as we saw in this previous slide, the people who actually could not achieve the target, or those achievement is on the lower side, of course they had performance gap. So this performance gap is mainly because there, you can say that lower competency rating. It means somewhere the knowledge, skill, and attitude, they actually have a gap. So this actually, study has helped us to understand, identify the performance gap, where exactly the gap is, as well as, and that is the reason actually the competency mapping is the best tool actually, for TNA also. So it helps us to analyze the training need, and of course, and design training, design and develop training based on the competency mapping will lead to better performance outcome. And of course, when it comes to recommendations, suggestions, even learning also, it's very important that in order to develop employee competencies, the 3 things are very critical here. That clearly define job description of our people or employees, then job element analysis, and behavioral anchor rating skills. So these 3 elements are very vital in order to develop competencies for any employees. And of course, then competency mapping will lead to definitely employee retention as well, because once you have concrete data with you, and even once you know that where exactly the performance gap is, okay, whether it is a knowledge gap, whether it is a skill gap, or it's a gap in attitude. So when we have that proper concrete data, we can can have a proper designing and development of training programs to bridge this gap and help people perform better in the field. And if performance is better, definitely that will lead to longer retention of employees. At the same time, competency mapping and an assessment or development center is a highly recommended exercise for every organization, and developing training based on competency mapping will lead to better performance outcome. So this was all about my project. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to present my topic in a very crux manner. Thanks a lot.